I have been working as a park ranger since 2017. That's about 7 years now, and I still love this job, especially that I can be in the outdoors since ever since I was a young kid, I've always loved the woods, either exploring with my friends or taking hikes with my family. But when I was 18 years old, around 2017, I decided I wanted to work with something that involves forest. And I saw that they were looking for some hires for the park service or park rangers in the Pine Barrens National Park. And I was like, that is a great opportunity for me to join. After all, I have always loved the woods. So I applied and I was accepted. I have always loved this place and still do. I have seen a lot of different animals in well, in this woods, like from foxes, coyotes, even some deers, and even black bears from now and then. But there are really something about these woods that sometimes can give you the eerie feeling. And there is only one time that was really the most disturbing to me. And this was when I have been working as a park ranger for at least a couple of years by this point. I was about 22 years old. It all happened during the pandemic of COVID around 2021. And at the time, like I mentioned, I have been working as a park ranger for a couple of years. And my experience and knowledge as a park ranger is a big thanks to my colleague Bob. Bob had been in the service as a park ranger for much longer than I have. In fact, he was around 33 years old when this stuff all happened. Now he's 36, but I appreciated all of his knowledge very much. And we are good friends, still do, and we are still good friends to this day. And in fact, Bob even took me in as sort of quote unquote apprentice. He showed me how to recognize several different animal footprints, all from black bears, cougars, deers, coyotes, and all that, and even some rare occasion of bobcats. And it happened that we worked together. Sometimes we were ourselves. But this particular day during the summer of 2021, I don't remember exact date, but it was sometime in mid-June of that year. And since it was during the COVID, and since there were still some restrictions and guidelines that was still much in effect, but this particular day, I was out in the woods to just make sure there was nothing, any dangerous been happening, like say any injured animal or any people that was doing something that they're supposed to do. But I did in fact run into a few people during my walk in the woods. I greeted them as always, hoped and said, and we did small talk, but I still had a short distance between us due to the fact of guidelines, and I did took them quite serious. But after I saw the last young couple, the woods was filled with all the kinds of sounds, like from the birds, crickets, but then in near instant, all went complete silent. I didn't know at first but why this was his happened. But then I remember what Bob told me. If you were to be in the woods, and suddenly all went quiet, that is a sign of a predator is the area. And since these woods have usually occasionally sights of black bears, cougars, wolves, and even coyotes. And I was like really curious, but also on my high alert. I quickly looked around, listened for any signs of possible for any big predators. Was nothing. But then he told me under advice to make ruckus, to make noise, so they would know that there are in fact someone there, so they wouldn't be able to catch you with something. So I did, but I'm always on high alert even at the time. But when I was near the cabin, or at least the station I was working at, it was halfway there, I heard this shriek, this sound. At first, I didn't see anything, but I heard it was some flying animal. But I heard this shrieking sound, and it went louder and louder, and then suddenly gone. After a moment, the whole woods went back to normal. The crickets buzzed back again, the birds were singing. I was dumbfounded what just happened. But I thought maybe there was maybe a large bird, maybe an eagle or something. I don't even know for sure. So when I went back to the station, Bob was there, but I didn't mention this to him at all. I thought maybe I was just heard a black, maybe I heard of this eagle, maybe a hawk. It's not impossible. He asked me if I did notice anything different in the woods. I shook my head. No, it's usual. I ran to a few people, heard this big bird in the sky. That's pretty much it. He nodded and went back to work. But this was not, you think, the only time I saw, or at least if I saw this thing. No, I didn't. As I looked around for the sound, I didn't see anything. But then, about a couple of days later, this young couple came to the station and they looked frightened. I I wasn't alone. Well, I was alone at the time. They asked me if I could help them. I said, sure, what can I do? They told me that they heard something and even saw this bizarre animal in the sky in the woods. I asked them to describe it. As the best that they could, it looks like a big animal. It could have been between 6 or 7 feet tall, flying, and had this strange head, like a horse, and a body was like a kangaroo. I was really surprised that I had never even heard of anything. I asked him to describe it again, but as they were doing that, Bob walked in and he heard. And he was like, oh, so you heard about it. So you've seen it as well. The woman in the couple said yes and nodded. I asked Bob, what do you mean? Wait, you haven't even heard about this? No. What are you talking about? Then Bob said nonchalantly, you have seen the Jersey Devil. The couple looked at each other and they asked, Jersey Devil? Yeah, it's an old legend around this parts of this part of the state, actually, said Bob. Then he just told them that how to describe it sounds like definitely part as a Jersey Devil. Bob was actually very much interested in this supernatural cryptids and all that. And he said, I have seen it myself, a handful of times. First time I saw it, I was pretty terrified. My supervisor at the time, or my old mentor, he told me I seen it. But it doesn't bother me anymore. And the couple was like, should we do anything about it? Should we call the police? Apology laughed and said, there is nothing that they can do. People have searched for it for years and never found it. It's very elusive, so there's no luck for them to do that. So the couple understood and thanked and left. I asked Bob if he was very serious about this so-called Jersey Devil actually exists. Yeah, you can look it up. Look it up online. It's there. You can find any information about it there, he said, and went to his seat and started working. So I did. And sure enough, there were in fact a description of how it's identical. I started wondering, could it be the Jersey Devil I heard that day in the woods about a while back? But I brushed it off. And at first I didn't even believe this story. I maybe just thought that Bob was just joking. He was known for some time to telling some jokes and pranks like that, but I never took it serious this time though. I regret I should have. Because only a couple of weeks later, this was around early July, I was in the woods by myself again. This was a nice summer day, and I hadn't even run into any people in the woods, but I did in fact saw some deers, rabbits, and even some coyotes in the distance. But as I was just on halfway back to the station as last time, the sound went complete silent. I had no idea what was going on, but this time I heard the same sound and the flying flappings all around again. As I did, I looked around as quickly as I could. I had my phone ready to record any sightings of this supposed dirty devil, and I did catch something on my phone as a quick camera, and I heard a sound, and after just heard it and was gone. I just stood there for it felt like an eternity, but I didn't know what to do. I mean, I just saw something in the woods, and after the sound around me went back to normal, it snapped out of me of my daze. I looked at my phone, and it did have this recording, not a photo, but a short video that I recorded. It did show me something, and it wasn't really clearly though, but I was stunned. But instead, I decided to go back to the station. Hopefully that Bob was there and he can tell me if this was just a bird or maybe just some other different animal. Because I know that sometimes people have seen Bigfoots, but it could have been just a misidentification as a bear. So when I went to the station, sure enough, Bob was there doing his work. I was like gallantly, Bob, um, but this so-called Shirty Devil that you've seen, did it have like this the one that's described in these photos, like a forked tail, kangaroo body, like a horse head, something like that? Yeah. Then it showed on the video. Even though it might have been blurry, but there were some features that did very much look identical. Huh. This is probably one of the best, even though it's a bit blurry, but this is definitely the New Jersey Devil, he said. So you actually saw it? Yeah, this. But then he said, huh, this is not the first time, right? Uh, I said, no, but this is the first time I managed to see it. Huh. Well, I can understand how most people probably just get scared. I asked them, has any other previous park rangers seen this? He nodded. There were actually a couple that after he started working, that there were a few young and some middle-aged people that started working as park rangers. But sometimes shortly after seeing this beast, or as I call it, the monster, they quit. And he said, I don't blame them. I mean, seeing something that's unusual, strange. I mean, based on what is story about it. What do you mean? Well, there are different versions of the legend of this Jersey Devil's origin. Then he told me how the story, well, at least one of the versions, how they supposed the mother of the family who used to live in the woods centuries ago, around mid 1700s. Wow, So you know now that this is definitely the so-called Jersey Devil. Yeah, I did understand now this wasn't a joke. And I still had a video on my phone for a while. I even showed it to my friends and family, but none of them did even believe me. They said this is probably just some different animal, like maybe a big bird, but it was too blurry to see. I agree with them, but I know for sure this was a Jersey Devil. I was even thinking of publishing it online, maybe as a YouTube video or something. But I did ask Bob what I should do, if I should publish this to online. But he said if you do, you'll probably get a lot of questions about it, and even, even like questions about if there's an authentic video or if there's some, something you made to look it so it's identical, authentic as possible. And he was right. I noted the fact that some people, because when I have been looking into many people, different people's videos about supposed Bigfoot sightings and all that. Most of the videos have probably would even give it such critics like this is just a man in a suit, or it was too blurry to even to make out. There was either a bear. The same thing when it comes to other supposed known monsters like Nessie or something. But in the end, I deleted the video on my phone. Do I regret it? No. Have I seen the Jersey Devil ever since? Actually, yes. At the beginning of the 2024, I have seen it at least a few more times. But I heard it more than that. Do I feel scared anymore about it? Well, the first time I didn't feel scared. I was just confused. I wasn't sure what kind of animal it was. After seeing the second time, and even had a video of it, I was hesitating. But after seeing a few more times and even hearing the scream or like that, I wasn't even scared. I felt like this was just a part of a normal wood animal, even though this was only one. Sometimes when I was in the woods, I often just joking around, "Hello, Jersey Devil, hope you're having a good day." And even though I know it probably won't understand me or probably wouldn't answer back, but I just jokingly that, and even I said that to Bob, and he laughed and like, as long as you don't disturb it, it might not hurt you. And do I regret to even start working as a park ranger after even seeing the famous Jersey Devil? Oh no, I don't. I still love my work. But this is the only time the story I want to mention to people that about something I saw in the woods that some people doesn't even believe to exist. Some people just think this is just a misidentification of an animal. Some believe that it's just a hoax. But I do know, strongly now, that the Jersey Devil is real. And I'm just wanted to tell people about my story. So thank you all for listening and hope you have a all good day.